Hey, what's going on? It's Edwin Vereen, aka Eddie Cool from the Sports Bros Podcast. And guess what? We got a bonus episode with myself and Dave Rivera from WOBL Radio. And right now, you're tuning in to Lorain County Hoops as we give you a recap of the end of season awards for this past basketball season for the 2021-2022 season. Enjoy.
Welcome into Lorain County Hoops here tonight as we do a season wrap-up show talking about some of the boys this year in Lorain County and around the surrounding Northeast Ohio. Dave Rivera here from WOBL Radio, and joining me as always, Edwin Vereen, Sports Bros Podcast. What's going on, Ed?
Hey, what's going on, Dave? It's great to be back to talk some Lorain County hoops, man. This season came and it went, and we got a lot of awards to talk about, some recognition. It's been a lot of great basketball been played in Lorain County this past season.
Yeah, we'll talk about some newcomers for next year that are going to be coming up. We'll talk about some of the seniors that are going to be leaving, and a lot of the awards. The all-state awards were just dropped today for Divisions 1 and 2. So, of course, Ed and I will have those for you, and we'll go over Division 3 and 4 as well. Those came out yesterday. And we'll also talk about the player of the year, the coach of the year, and of course, Lorain County's Mr. Basketball. So let's start off with the all Lorain County, and we'll start with Division 1. And for this year, what I noticed big time was the experience, Ed. A lot of juniors and seniors and only one sophomore making the first team all Lorain County for Division 1, that being Griffin Torre from North Ridgeville, who has definitely shown out very well for the Rangers. But going down the rest of the list is Ryan Walsh from Elyria, Matthew Stewie from Avon Lake, George Gotsis, Austin Bray, and George Fair. So the trio from the Comets, all seniors. And then rounding out the first team, another Ranger, Jake Bonar, who we know very well because he won a lot of our Hoop Tech Player of the Game awards this year for the Rangers.
Yep, you won a lot of awards for the Rangers as well, too. And I see one, I think there's a freshman on there in the honorable mention section as well, too. So, which goes to show that Elyria is loaded with talent. As you said, there's a 10th grader on there in the honorable mention section as well, too, with Mateo Medina. And, of course, we got Jordan Corey. So, the comments are heavy. The comments, they had a real productive year this year. And you can see with them being members of the all Lorain County Division I team.
Yeah, the Comets had a good year, losing in the district semifinals to the Medina Bees. And Coach Pat Bray looking to rebuild after losing a big core of seniors for the Amherst Comets. So they're going to definitely be rebuilding. Jumping right over to the second team for all Lorain County Division I, you have Jordan Daniels from Lorain, Ryan Runzer from Midview, Isaac Richardson from Avon Lake, RJ Schneider from North Ridgeville, Max Emmerine from Avon, Jordan Corey from Amherst, Omar Palos from Elyria, and Colin Stewart from Avon Lake. Who stands out to you on that second team list, Ed?
Let's see. I would have to say Jordan Daniels stands out. Yes, he stands out.
Jordan's a tough player. Did a lot for Lorain this year, being the senior on the team and averaging a lot of points from behind the arc. He was a player that had a green light at all times for Coach Killian's team this year. And the Lorain Titans didn't finish as they wanted to, this year, but they will be rebuilding and reloading for next year. A guy that stands out to me on that second team list is Jordan Corey, another Amherst kid as a senior. He won the MVP award for the All-Star game this year in Lorain County, really having a great showing in his last basketball game, and it happened to be at Lorain High where his dad, Brian Corey, is the athletic director. So Jordan stuck out to me on that second team, had a good game there in that All-Star game. And then for Division II, all Lorain County first team, Avery Young from Brookside, Ben Reaney from Vermilion, Connor Rodick from Keystone, Anthony Januzzi from Firelands, Donovan Lewis from Vermilion, and Jake Morgan rounds out the Division II, all Lorain County, first team from Keystone. What are your thoughts on that list there?
I really like Avery Young. Avery Young has grown a tremendous amount during the regular season, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he led the LCA in total 3-point shots made with 38, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Coach Larry Babbitt ran that high octane offense where it was 5 in and 5 out, and everybody had the green light to shoot. A team that we covered a few times in person, and Coach Babbitt definitely has the Cardinals as an up and coming team for next year, and I'm excited to see exactly how they turn out.
Yep, I'm excited to see how they turn out because they won 8 games this past season in the LCA. But if you look last year, they only won 1 conference game, which means, you know, the 5 in, 5 out, or as I like to call it, the hockey shift. Something's going on over there in Brookside, and yeah, they went 8 and 6, and it's led by Avery Young and the rest of his teammates.
And I want to say they had the best record in the last 30 years for Brookside basketball. So they're on the up and up. A player that stuck out to me real quick on that first team, Ed, Anthony Januzzi, a sophomore from Fireland, coach's son, very smart, high basketball IQ. We mentioned coach's son. That is Coach Alan Januzzi's son at Firelands. But wait a minute, he has now moved to Open Door. So I would imagine that Anthony is going to follow along with his dad and head on over to Open Door. What are your thoughts about that, Ed?
It wouldn't surprise me one bit, because the reason being is I would believe that if I was Coach Januzzi, I would want to have my son to come with me, because that way he can be a court general and teach the other guys how the offense runs as well too. Because, you know, as well as I do when it comes to change, a lot of times you bring people over with you that know how to run your offense and your sets and your defensive sets and everything. So that way they can just teach the other teammates as well too, and so they can play catch up as well.
Coach Januzzi, one of 2 coaches here to take their teams to a state Final Four in Lorain County in the last 30 years. Open Door went back in 02-03 when Coach Januzzi was there. And of course, the Lorain Titans went back in 2018 and 19 during that amazing run. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Open Door. Stay tuned as the rumor mill is turning. Let's stay with Lorain County Division II second team. Aiden Cruz would be from Clearview. Keith Colvin from Clearview. Grant Hartley is from LaGrange. Nate Draga from Fireland. Andrew Hendershot is from Vermilion. And Jacob Coletta is from Brookside. So that is your second team, all Lorain County Division II, Ed. A lot of youth, only 1 senior and a lot of sophomores.
Yeah, a lot of sophomores. I particularly got my eye on Keith Colvin. He's another tough, gritty player. You know, he doesn't mind taking bumps and getting dirty. So yeah, and it shows because he made the second team in the LCA.
He's also a football player.
Yep, also a football player as well too.
He won our Hoop Tech Player of the Game. The first game of the year when they took on Open Door and they won 63-62. Keith Colvin really lit it up for the Clippers and got them one of their few victories this year. But the future is bright with both Aiden Cruz and Keith Colvin representing Clearview for that All Lorain County Division II. Moving on over to All Lorain County Division III first team. Jaden Roberts from Wellington. Ty Locklear from Oberlin. Cody Davis from Columbia. Jaden Guerra Howard from Open Door. Ted DeMarco from Lake Ridge, Isaac Thompson from Oberlin, Reese Miller from Columbia, and Robert Palmer from Elyria Catholic. What's your thoughts on that?
That's a good first team there. I like that. You know, we saw Reese Miller the time we covered up went to Columbia and covered them versus Rittman. And he was one of those guys that was all over the floor, the smallest thing on there, but you know, he had the biggest presence. And then I wish I was able to see Jaden Roberts at 100%, because the time that we covered them when they played Keystone at home, he was just, you know, getting over an illness, and you can tell. But But yeah, but I did, however, see a video on Twitter of Jaden Roberts dunking, and he had a pretty good season. He had a pretty good season. He led the conference in scoring, and he's very efficient because once the ball gets to his hands, he has a nose for the hoop.
It was effortless. We've watched Jaden a few times this year covering the LCA, and man, you wouldn't think, he didn't necessarily take the game over, dropping 20 points a game. That's what he averaged, was 21 points per game. He did it quietly. They didn't force feed him. He kind of just did it on his own with putbacks and a lot of mid-range jumpers from the elbow. That was his spot for Jaden Roberts. But then we got to see a lot of athleticism because there was a few times where he dunked on people's heads, and it surprised the heck out of everybody in the crowd.
Yeah.
So Jaden Roberts, definitely a player that sticks out for the Lorain County Division III first team. For me, I'm going to go with Jaden Garrett-Howard. He is the only sophomore on this first team for Division III from Open Door. He is a 6'1" sophomore. He got banged up towards the end of the year. He still ended up playing in the All-Star game, and boy, did he put on a heck of a show, going toe-to-toe against Isaiah Killian from Lorain. And it was fun to watch in that Rising Stars All-Star game. So I'm excited to see Jaden Garrett-Howard progress the next 2 years for the Open Door Patriots.
I want to see him too. There's a few games I didn't cover, unfortunately, I didn't cover, but I'm like a lot of these young guys I'm ready to see them. I've heard so much about them, and they're out there. And so I want to see them. I want to see how good they are and see what they can do.
So let's jump into the Division III second team, all Lorain County. Andre Yarber from Oberlin, Nate Borling from Columbia, Jacob Wiegman from Wellington, Vincent Berardi from Columbia, Marius Harrell from Oberlin, Johnny Cray from Black River, Owen Mangy from Columbia, and RJ Penny rounds out the second team, all Lorain County Division III from Open Door.
Johnny Cray, the sophomore, he's quiet, but he's effective.
Yes.
He's quiet, he's effective. He has a long, tall, slim frame, and he makes the most of it. And then there's Vincent Berardi, who doesn't mind crashing the boards and getting physical. So those
only a junior, Ed, is Vincent Berardi, two-sport athlete, plays football and basketball. Didn't mind, like you said, doing the dirty work, especially on the defensive end and underneath on the boards. Johnny Cray, as you mentioned, a 6'1" player from the Black River Pirates, who's only a sophomore, very underrated heading into the season. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Andre Yarber, the senior from Oberlin.
Okay.
He did a very good job this year running the offense for his Phoenix team, and then his backcourt mate, Mary Harrell, he also made the second team All Lorain County Division III. Marius was phenomenal. We've seen the Phoenix a few times this season, and he was very shifty with the ball. He was able to get to the basket whenever he wanted, and he was also a good floor general, not turning the ball over and running the offense for Coach Kurt Russell.
Yeah, that's the thing about when you're a good floor general, not turning the ball over and getting to the net. Efficiency. I call that efficiency. Just like you said, he can get there whenever he wants to. So that's a very dangerous player when they can pretty much shoot at will, attack the basket at will, and convert and score on it.
Now let's look at some of the bigger awards for 2022 here in Lorain County. Players of the Year. Ed, we'll start with Division I. Aiden Gregory from Midview wins the honorable award of being the best player in Division I. What are your thoughts on Aiden Gregory?
Aiden Gregory is a great player. He led the middies in the tournament as well too, and he's quiet. He's quiet. He doesn't make a lot of noise. He puts his hard hat on. He's blue collar. He gets in there. He handles business.
6'4". Okay, you see that, and you don't think that he's going to be handling the ball very much, but this kid ran the offense for the middies. And just seen today, picked up a offer from Ashland University. So hopefully Aiden right now is unsigned and uncommitted. And I'm sure he's going to be picking up some steam heading into next year. But Aiden was just did a phenomenal job all year long. You know, every team he faced knew he was the best player on the court, and he still was able, you know, to put up almost 20 points per game. And he dominated for the Midview Middies in that tough Southwestern Conference. Division II Player of the Year. I'm glad to see it. Christian Paddocky from Keystone, the senior. He's another one, man. Just a double machine, two-sport athlete, and was not afraid to put his nose in there and get dirty.
Yeah, he's not afraid to put his nose in there and get dirty. He was a great part of Coach Holzhauer's team, along with the Morgan twins. And watching Keystone this season was very fun. They play a very methodical type basketball, but they're very efficient with that as well too. So it's good to see Christian Paddocky make the Division II Player of the Year list.
Keystone had been the reigning two-time champ in the LC8, and they were dethroned this year as Oberlin and Columbia ended up splitting that conference.
Mm-hmm.
But as you mentioned, Keystone didn't have the year that they would have liked to, but Christian Paddocky still had an amazing year for the Keystone Wildcats. And then Division III is none other than Jack Keneally from Elyria Catholic, who has just racked up every award really in Lorain County and Northeastern Ohio, as he gets ready to attend Youngstown State University next year and suit up for the Penguins.
Yeah, the EC big man, Jack Keneally, at 6'7". He averaged 20+ points a game, and he's just a monster, baby. What can I say about him? He's just a monster, baby. I'm just watching video, and I was like, can anybody stop him? Can it? No. All right. When you're that size, you can pretty much do what you want to do.
Yeah, and he had an effective year for Elyria Catholic. He perfected that two-handed dunk all year long, and we watched him in the All-Star game. He was 6 for 6 from the field. They were all two-handed dunks to get things going. So, I mean, Jack Keneally just really towering over the competition this year, racking up all the awards in Lorain County. The coaches of the year, no surprises here, as in Division I, Pat Bray takes home the award for Amherst. We talked to Coach Bray earlier in the season. Phenomenal coach, had just a great group of kids, including his son, Austin, and the rest of the Comets didn't get as far as they wanted to in the tournament, but still had a great year, Ed.
Yeah, they still had a great year, and it's a great result of Coach Bray's coaching.
Division II is going to be Jeff Holzhauer from Keystone, and we talked a little bit about them earlier, being the two-time division champs from the LC8. Unfortunately, they fell this year and did not win the conference championship. Coach Holzhauer did an amazing job all year long, especially Connor Rodick, the junior, the quarterback for the Wildcats, and he also played basketball. He had a phenomenal year. Division III goes to Josh Scarf, newly acquired Columbia Raiders head coach. He was an assistant under Coach Larry Babbix. When Babbix left to Brookside, Coach Josh Scarf stepped up, took the team under, and they really didn't skip a beat this year, man. They kept the same offense that Babbix had installed, you know, up tempo, and looking to score a lot of points. And congratulations to Scarf and the Columbia Raiders.
Yeah, because just as you mentioned about Coach Scarf, a lot of times when there's a transition or a change in head coaching, there might be a new philosophy. But I guess Coach Josh Sharp said, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they were able to clinch a share of the LCA title along with the Oberlin Phoenix this year. And so once again, great coaching by Coach Josh Sharp.
So those are some of the big awards for all Lorain County. Division I, II, and III went over the Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and now we got to go over Mr. Basketball, because this is ultimately what everybody cares about here in Lorain County. And no surprise, Aiden Gregory takes this award home as the best basketball player in Lorain County, winning it for the Midview Middies.
Yep, Aiden Gregory, the silent assassin.
And just 2 years ago, Johnny Manning won it for Midview back in 2020. And so, you know, that's a pretty good rich history you got there for the Midview Middies winning the Mr. Basketball Award. Before that, the last time that it happened was Anthony Stacy back in 1995 from Midview, who is now the coach at Toledo Whitmer. He is a local guy who we all keep close tabs on. Coach Anthony Stacy doing a phenomenal job out there. He was the last Midview Midi to win it back in 1995 before Johnny Manning did it in 20, and now Aiden Gregory in 2022. So we talked about all Ohio honors that came out the last few days, and we can go over some of those right now. We can start with Division One, and we had none other than Aiden Gregory from Midview, again representing Lorain County, the only Division One second team representative for us here in the county. He wins. He's all second team, all Ohio. That is a huge honor, Ed.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That goes to show that the program at Midview is going in the right direction by having him as the representative in the all Ohio second team. That's a pretty big deal. Think about it. The whole entire state, you got a guy from your school representing your school. And so, yeah, and the hits keep coming. The hits keep coming.
Yeah. Shout out to Ray Ellington, also in Westlake. He was Division One All Ohio third team. We did have some honorable mentions, and that would be Illyria's Ryan Walsh, the junior, was able to pick up a Division One All Ohio honorable mention. So shout out to him for picking up that award. A guy that is not necessarily playing here in Lorain County, Ed, but is from Lorain County, and that's Michael Bova from St. Edwards. He picked up the Division One All Ohio First Team Award. So we would like to congratulate him, being a local guy. Danny Young, also from Shaker Heights, picks up Division One All Ohio second team. So shout out to those guys from around Northeast Ohio and right here in Lorain County. Moving over to Division Two All Ohio selection, and there was only one guy from around the area that was able to make this list, and that was Christian Padaky from Keystone. Picked up an honorable mention here for Division Two All Ohio. Want to give him a shout out, as well as Avery Young from Brookside, just a junior. He also makes Division Two honorable mention.
Yep, a couple of young, gritty guys, man. You know, when you see that make an honorable mention, that's not a slight. If I'm those players, it gives me motivation to get back on the court and work hard and be a better teammate and be a better player. And, you know, I know they say you shouldn't really focus on the individual awards. It's all about a team award. But, you know, but as an individual, when you focus on yourself and your hard work pays off, then, you know, you'll be named to these teams. But you can't forget about the ultimate goal. Basketball is a team game. One man can take over, but you also need multiple moving parts to make it successful as well, too.
So Division Three All Ohio boys teams announced yesterday. Jack Keneally, Division Three All Ohio first team, the first Panther in 20 years to get named to the first team, Ed.
Wow, he breaks a dry spell, and that's good. Hey, the big man, 6'7", like you said, he perfected that two-hand dunk, and the same goes for him. The hits and the accolades keep coming as well, too.
Division Three third team All Ohio, Cody Davis from Columbia, averaging 17 points per game for the Raiders. We've seen him a few times this year, and the big man loves the fadeaway jumper. He can throw it down as well, but a very shifty player, not necessarily one that's going to bang with you underneath. He likes to be around the perimeter.
Yeah, he has a silky smooth shot as well, too. I remember when we saw them play against Richmond, and he definitely made it rain a few times. But then he also dunked during the game as well, too. You know, giving him an opportunity, you know, he'll drop one on somebody's head if need be.
Ty Locklear from Oberlin, Division Three All Ohio special mention. Congratulations to Ty and the Oberlin Phoenix on a great season that they had this year. Robert Palmer makes Division Three All Ohio honorable mention from Elyria Catholic. Led Lorain County with 9 assists per game. Talk about being unselfish, Ed. That's what Robert Palmer was this year.
Yeah. Hey, you can't be the guy shooting the ball all the time. And if you're the guy that can see the open shot, just pass the ball. Sometimes it's okay to pass the ball. And when he, at 9 assists per game, yeah, very high rate, very high success rate, which means he's able to have that court vision to see an open man and take the shot they need to.
Also in the Division III All-Ohio honorable mention is Jaden Roberts, the big man from Wellington, and Isaac Thompson, the big man from Oberlin. So two of the bigger guys rounding out Division III honorable mention. And both of those players, we talked a little bit about Jaden Roberts for Wellington. Isaac Thompson was a great player as well. 6'4", just a junior, and he did a great job around the basket this year for Coach Kurt Russell. And we've seen him a few times this year. What were your takeaways from Isaac Thompson?
A few takeaways from Isaac Thompson. 6'4", don't let the size fool you, because he can still get it done. He's able to bang around and move bodies if he got to, and he's a real verse player. I can't say that about him.
Throwback to me. He looks like a traditional big man, built very well, likes to play around the basket. He'll take you out to that elbow and free throw line, but not someone that's really going to be behind the perimeter per se. But he's got a great future at Oberlin, and I can't wait to see him next year in his senior year. Division IV All-Ohio boys basketball team for right here in Northeast Ohio. And we had Ted DeMarco make the third team as the lone representative here in Lorain County. Ted, we got to see from Lake Ridge Academy in the All-Star game. Very good player, averaged over 20 points per game. Just had a shortened season, only getting in about 17 games due to scheduling. But Ted DeMarco, one of the representatives here for Division IV, third team All-Ohio.
That goes to show, when you got a chance to shine, you got to make the most of your opportunity. And him landing on this list is a prime example of that too.
All-Ohio special mention for Division IV, Jaden Guerra Howard from Open Door. The sophomore was able to make that list. And that was it for Division IV here in Lorain County as far as the all-state honors go. And now we can talk a little bit about some of the conference honors, because we have some of those winners as well. And moving into the Southwestern Conference, the most valuable player being Aiden Gregory from Midview. Your first team All-Southwestern Conference, Austin Bray from Amherst, George Gotsis from Amherst, Ryan Walsh from Elyria. Rounds out the first team. What are your thoughts on the Southwestern Conference overall as a group?
As a group, that's a pretty solid group, especially George Gotsis. I watched him play football as well too. And you see the presence of the Amherst Steel Comets. And as I said, it goes to good coaching and great leadership. So no surprise here. I like what I see here. I like what I see. The second team on Southwestern Conference, we got George Fair from Amherst Steel, Max Emmerine, Matthew Stewie from Avon Lake, and Ryan Roosner from Midview.
Yeah, Ryan Runzer, a guy who we've seen in the playoffs and towards the end of the year, surprised me. He actually went up for a dunk. I didn't even think he was going to be close. And he's about 6'1", and Ryan Runzer almost threw it down. So that's a name to keep an eye out for next year with the Midview Middies. And that second team, all Southwestern Conference, really looks pretty interesting. Max Emmerine from Avon, definitely a player this year, flew underneath the radar, did a lot of the scoring for the Eagles, should have another big season next year. The All Lake Erie League, Lorain County, was only represented on the second team for the boys, that being Asaya Killian from Lorain, and Jordan Daniels also made it from Lorain in the Lake Erie League, so they were only able to get 2 representatives in there for the second team All Lake Erie League. And the Titans, I watched a lot of them on TV. Shout out to TV 20 and Joe Bach. They do a great job with the production. I watched most of their home games that they had on TV. A team that's just trying to find their identity and find their new calling with new head coach Matt Killian and he's got, Asaya Killian, his son, who did a phenomenal job this year as a sophomore, really filling it up and running the offense. Jordan Daniels was that senior who they knew they could count on and rely on. He had some playing experience, but then there were question marks around him. You had Christian Ruiz, the big man, who was able to step up and give some good quality minutes. And you had some other players that were just really getting their first varsity experience this year. So I look for the Titans to bounce back. This is their worst season probably in 10 years for Lorain High basketball. Normally they set the staple here in Lorain County and are normally leading everybody as far as, going the farthest. And that just didn't happen for the Titans this year.
When you rebuild, sometimes you go through those growing pains as well too. And like you said, it was a down year, and you said Lorain is usually the standard bearer when it comes to hoops in the county. So you just have to take, you have to take your lumps this past season and work hard in the off season and build that chemistry. And like you say, find your way. And once they find their way, they'll be just fine. I think they'll be fine. It's going to take time. It's going to take time, but they'll be fine.
Yeah, we're going to see how the Titans are able to build up through the young pipeline, and we'll see what happens next year moving forward now that Coach Killian will have that first year under his belt. The Lorain County 8 first team, for the boys, the MVP goes to Cody Davis, the big man for Columbia. He also shared the award with Ty Locklear from Oberlin. So those two guys led the way for Lorain County 8, followed by Reese Miller from Columbia, Christian Paddocky from Keystone, Jaden Roberts from Wellington, Isaac Thompson from Oberlin, and Avery Young from Brookside. Thoughts on the first team, Ed?
Solid, stacked, scorers. Got a big man that can do, got two big men that can do it all. Christian Paddocky, Mr. Everything, Reese Miller, energy, toughness, grit, and you got Avery Young who can light it up with the best of them.
Yeah, so that's the first team for the Lorain County 8. The second team, Vincent Berardi and Nathan Borling from Columbia, Marius Harrell from Oberlin, Anthony Januzzi from Fireland, Connor Rodick from Keystone, and Andre Yarber from Oberlin round out the Lorain County 8 second team list.
All right. So like I said, Vincent Berardi, I forgot how many rebounds does he average a game? I think he's almost a double-double, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, he's a double-double for sure. He's averaging 12 rebounds a game. He actually averages more rebounds than points. Yeah. Not by much, but that's impressive when you're grabbing more boards than you're scoring.
Yeah, that means, hey, you know what? If I just grab those rebounds, that can assure me that, hey, I can buy my team some time to find a way around the perimeter or find a man cut and drop it off to him. And so, yeah, that goes to show, man, he knows his way in the paint. He knows his way in the paint. He knows where the ball's going to bounce. He kind of has a Dennis Rodman-esque toughness. He really does, if you ask me, because I've seen him play and I was like, man, this kid is he's just in the thick of it. It's just in the middle. He don't mind getting dirty. He don't mind falling to the floor. So Columbia's got some tough guys. I will say that.
So that rounds out all of the conference awards for the conferences here in Lorain County. Talking a little bit about some of the seniors that are going to be leaving. We talked about Cody Davis averaging 17 points per game. He picked up tons of awards this year, Ed, and last year he didn't get anything. So it just goes to show you how much he's improved year over year. He also played football for the Raiders this fall, was a very important part of their offense all year long, going 11-0, before they finally took a loss. And Cody Davis really sticks out to me being a senior. You got Christian Paddocky, another guy that just really put it all out there. A lot of two-sport athletes, really going out there and giving it their all. And Christian, another double-double guy, our Division II All-Lorain County Player of the Year. And he is very respectful and polite. He won our Hoop Player of the Game award as well. What are your thoughts on Christian Paddocky?
Christian Panicky, like you said, man, respectful kid. He played football as well too. He was he was one of the leaders for the Keystone Wildcats this year, and just an all-around good kid, man. And they will miss his presence next year at Keystone. They definitely will. But hopefully he, did the right thing and bestowed some knowledge and wisdom to his younger teammates, and hopefully they continue his legacy there at Keystone.
Aiden Gregory winning Lorain County's Mr. Basketball as well as Division I Player of the Year. Two of the top honors here for Lorain County as far as basketball goes. He is going to be missed next year as he heads off to college and undecided right now as to where he's going to go, but was able to get some looks and hopefully he can become an Ashland Eagle. And that would be good for him. Division II basketball is nothing to hang your hat on.
Yeah, that's look, you're up there. You're up there. You're doing something. So yeah, that's like you said, that's nothing never to hang your head about. Mm-mm.
And then you can't talk about seniors without talking about the Amherst Comets. I mean, they were just loaded with seniors this year.
Mm.
Torrey Weatherspoon, a guy that got most of his praise on the football field, but he played basketball as well, and he was kind of like the glue for the Comets this year, the unsung hero. He was able to do the dirty work so that Austin Bray and George Gotsis and George Fair could score, and also Jordan Corey. So I mean, just a big senior group right there at the Comets that are leaving, and they're going to be reloading big time.
Yeah, just like you said, guys like Torrey Witherspoon, they're important to teams because they're the glue. And sometimes it's not all about, scoring buckets or being the it guy on the team. Sometimes, being that guy that kind of, keeps the team together, kind of like the, I don't know the word I'm looking for. It escapes me. An unsung hero, being an unsung hero about, hey, look, you see your teammate getting down, lift them up, encourage them, and just being that extra, kind of like a coach's eye almost, so to speak. Being like another set of eyes for the coaches and, realizing things and, if they get down too much, hey, pick the morale up a little bit. Just keep good energy all around the team too.
So those are some of the seniors that are going to be moving on. A guy from Elyria that I like is Omar Palos. He's going to be graduating this year. We mentioned Jordan Daniels from Lorain, another senior that's going to be moving on. But the future's bright here for Lorain County. A lot of young stars that are going to be looking to make a name for themselves. And we can start in the LC8, a conference that we're familiar with, and two guys that stick out to me. Luke Vanucci from Wellington, only a freshman, and Nolan Wechter from Brookside, also another freshman. Who are some young guys to you, Ed, that stick out in your mind?
I had the chance to see him play twice this year. And I'm going to say John Cray from Black River, and also the guy that proved to us he don't need a toenail to play no basketball. The one, the only, Eric Grosser. The kid's tough. And these guys are only sophomores. Like, I don't know what Coach Wilson got going on down there, but they're breeding them tough down there. And it's just hey, don't sleep on the kids on Black River, man, because and the thing about Grosser, he's another kid. He's quiet. He plays. He's tough. He also plays football as well too. And then John Craig, he's just under the radar, but if he needs to make noise, he can do it. So I'm really also excited to see what they do as well too. And then Vincent Berardi, will he average another double-double this upcoming season as well too? Will he also be the grit and grind player as well too that Columbia needs with the absence of Cody Davis? We shall see. Just like you said, man, it looks real. The future looks real bright for Lorain County hoops. So, and I'm excited already. I'm ready for the next season, but we got to get through football first.
So some more guys that I want to talk about as far as freshmen goes. Jaden Crutcher, a freshman from Elyria, big, long, lengthy kid. Needs to put on some muscle, but he's shown this year that he was a great addition to Coach Brett Lyric's team, and the rest of the Pioneers can definitely fill it up from inside and from outside. Keep your eye on Jaden Crutcher, just a freshman for Elyria. Another freshman we've seen a few times, Xavier Castillo, flies under the radar for Clearview. Only a freshman,
Yep.
And we watched him in one game score over 20 points and lead the Clippers in scoring. And he is another kid that you need to keep an eye out for as far as a youngster goes.
Yeah, if you can fill the bucket up like that, then you and fly under the radar like that. That's just another reason why high school hoops is in good hands in Lorain County, because you got a lot of top tier players, you got a lot of middle tier players, you got a lot of guys just fly under the radar. They fly under the radar, but at any given moment they can turn it on and be like, oh, got to pay you some attention now.
Another guy flying under the radar is Josiah Bowen Pride from Oberlin, the big man, only a freshman at 6'2". We've seen him a few times this year. He is a good combo forward type guard, can do a little bit of everything. Keep your eye on him for Oberlin next year in Division III. Definitely going to be making an impressive year after this year. And then, we talked a little bit about Coach Januzzi moving on from Firelands to go to Open Door, back where he coached for back in 02 and 03, taking them to the state Final Four. I would imagine his son's going to go with them, as Anthony Januzzi will slide over, and you pair him with Jaden Guerra Howard at Open Door, and all of a sudden you got a 1-2 punch that could be considered one of the best backcourts in Lorain County.
Yeah, when you team them up, and then once they buy into the philosophy, along teaming up with that 1-2 punch, they could, as the kids say, it could be an absolute problem.
So those are just some of the news and notes going around here for Lorain County as the season pretty much wraps up for Lorain County basketball. And all the boys teams just made it to the district semifinals. Nobody played for a district championship, which is unheard of here in Lorain County. We mentioned Lorain High Titans usually fill that void for us, and it just didn't happen this year. So gonna have to rebound if you're Lorain County basketball, I think, and get a little bit stronger. I think there's a lot of talent out there. It's just putting the right pieces and parts together and kind of building that power team that some of these other private schools are able to do.
Yeah, just as you said, man, it's all about, put the players in position and the best combination and strategy, and just trying to make the most happen with what you have. That's the name of the game. And so I think don't sleep on Lorain County. Lorain County will be back. It'll be back. Might be a little quiet year this year, but they'll be back.
Everybody gets so excited for football, and then basketball season runs right behind it. And I think sometimes people get exhausted from football and they just want to sleepwalk through basketball season. But I really enjoy it. It was a fun year this year. We got to call games together and see some of the talent both at the senior level and at the freshman level. And I think it's going to be exciting moving forward.
Yeah, but as you say, Lorain County, please do not listen to me. Please do not sleepwalk through basketball season. There's a lot of it's great talent. The atmosphere is great. Like, one of my favorite venues to visit whenever we were doing games was the Bird Cage in Brookside. That was a nice venue. The venue in Black River was nice as well too. So it's an atmosphere is nice. Like, basketball is a fun sport too. Basketball is a fun, but but as far as the whole state goes, it's predominantly a football state, because after all, this is the birthplace of football. But the hoops here as well too. You cannot discredit the high school basketball. So listen to me, give them a chance, come out and see them, support these kids. They love it, they appreciate it. Community camaraderie, and you need more of that, especially for the kids, especially for them.
So coming up on the next episode of the podcast, we're going to dive into the girls here for Lorain County and the surrounding area of Northeast Ohio, talk about all Lorain County selections, player of the year, coach of the year, and of course, Miss Basketball. Going to have a lot of stuff coming your way from both Ed and I, so please stay tuned. I also have a announcement as far as maybe a name change for the podcast. And yeah, some stuff that's in the works. So from Dave Rivera here at WOBL Radio, Edwin Vereen, Sports Bros Podcast. Please stay tuned, and thanks for watching.
Take care.